Hello and welcome along to A View from Section C. It's Season 2, Episode 24 though. We're going to continue with the running numbers. We had a big discussion about this pre-show. But it's good to be back. Larzo, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Junior. I'm
Missing hockey?
Missing hockey, yeah, really missing it. I think when the NHL playoffs were ongoing, that kept us going. But then when it goes deeper in, you're not getting so many games coming up, and then Colorado win it, and it's like, shit, there's no hockey left.
Were you able to stay up that late with work so early the next day?
No, but every game was on Premier Sports, so what I'd done was a Sky Plus it, and then keep away from social media all day, and then come home from work, get in about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then just sit and watch again and see how they go.
The good news is we were also on our honeymoon, and we saw the majority of games for the 10 days we were away, so that was good for us.
Normal times, but yeah, no, it's it was good to get the NHL playoffs with fans back in.
Yeah,
but I'm now at that stage where I'm itching for more Stars signings.
Yes.
Build the team up, see what it's going to be like, and then we'll be off and running before we know it.
Yeah, for sure. But this is the first one of our player interviews, and there was only one person we could have gotten first. We've said it for months that we had to bring him on. And as the song goes, you know, it's the man that hates the clan. It's Mr. Charlie Combs.
Hey, how's it going?
Charlie, nice to see you, and thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No, as you said, it was always going to be the first person we had to have on. The 2 minutes with Charlie was one thing that kept us going throughout the season. You know, we didn't have with COVID and stuff, we couldn't really get that player interaction that we've had for over the seasons gone by. So it was good to have that little bit of access of Charlie's 2 minutes.
Yeah, no, that was just a fun little. I remember coming into the rink one day and Pasha's just like, "Hey, you're just gonna interview the boys, just make it and have fun with it." I'm like, "Oh, thanks for putting all the pressure on me with that." You know, it definitely put a smile on our face, seeing how much everyone loved it.
Yeah, no, it was good. We were in hysterics. I was sitting watching at my desk at work, pissing myself laughing. Just I couldn't move. Be like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "You have to go to hockey and understand these guys, and then watch it." And it was just. I think it just went to show the character of our team last year.
Oh yeah, no, it was. I mean, forever and always, I will remember that team, and just everyone in that locker room was just a different, just a different person. But we all meshed so well, and we all got along so well, which was, I think, exactly why we kind of had that success towards the end of the year, which was pretty special.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about your career, kind of how you started and stuff. We'll go into the Stars and kind of what happened last year, and some highs and lows, and also some funny moments as well. So, but yeah, started NCAA with Bemidji State. Obviously, we know that very well. With one of our pride and joys of Dan Bacala when he was netminder with the Stars, one of the biggest players. And then obviously had a season with Michigan State. How was kind of the NCAA? How was it stepping up to the ECHL? What was the difference between that like?
Yeah, I would just have to say it's just such a different structured hockey league, and they're both so competitive in different ways. College, you never stop moving. You're always going 100 miles an hour. And then once you get to kind of the coast or the pro level, you have to think the game a lot more. And, college, you also had 4 lines of forwards that were going every other rep or every other shift. So, and once you get to pro, there's only 3 lines. So it was kind of more of like kind of save your legs, but you're still got to be in the right position at all times, and you got to really think the game. And everyone's a really, really good hockey player. So I would say that was the biggest difference. But I would love to thank Bemidji and Michigan State for building me into the player that I really was, because my game shaped up so much during those 4 years, and I'm not the best defensive player in the world, but I would have to give most of the credit to Bemidji State on that, just about defensive of a structure they had. And then kind of going to Michigan State. It was such a weird year being COVID. And, I was looking for something new, kind of where I can express my offensive side of the game. And I think I did a good job at that. And, it was also a blast kind of being in that big campus structure. And, you have a football team to watch, like a big football team, a big basketball team. So, I had a blast all 4 years, and I can honestly say it was probably the best 4 years of my life.
Yeah. One thing, like we've obviously, if I keep forgetting now, you're going to go to Denmark, Charlie. Stars have signed quite a lot of guys already coming in from the NCAA. What kind of player are we going to expect to come in? There seems to be a lot. There is a big concern from some of the fans saying we've got too many of these guys coming in from NCAA.
I just think they're going to be the hungriest players. Like for me, I didn't care on what I got paid or anything. It was just more like, give me that opportunity, and I got to take it and run with it. And I can honestly say that was the most dedicated I've been, trying to get ready for a season in a while. And it was just that hungriness, because like, if you have a bad year in pro, you might not get that same contract the next year. And it's kind of like each game is it's massive because everyone's watching you. And but yeah, I just think you're going to get a bunch of hungry guys. And I honestly, from the signings I've seen, I've really liked what Dundee's doing. And I'm excited to see them play.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So obviously saying that, obviously you coming into Dundee, you were playing with Tony Beauregard and obviously Spencer, Larzo's favourite player, Eldoro Loco. He's been non-stop tweeting about him re-signing since the last game of the season. How much contact did you have with Bo about coming to Dundee? And were you and Spencer did you guys get a deal at the same time? Were you contacted at the same time?
So with Beauregard, we were still in Wichita until probably, kind of mid-June. The season went so long in the coast with kind of COVID and everything. So I was with, I call him little guy because he's smaller than me. Just remember that.
Well, just on that, we do have a Charlie fact. We reviewed Stars TV video footage, and we can confirm you are taller than Sonch.
Oh yeah, he's the wee man for sure. That one was, that I am definitely taller than Phil. So we called Phil the wee man, but I call Beauregard little guy because he would always try to call me little guy, and I just wasn't going to let that one happen. So I had to overpower him. But no, so we were always together, and we kind of hit it off pretty well. And we were kind of best friends in Wichita. And my brothers played overseas for pretty much since I could remember, and he's kind of done everything over in America too. So I really have always wanted to go overseas and just kind of start my pro career over there and see how long I can go over there and see how high I can get over there. It would be awesome to kind of stay over here, but I would love to experience the world and like the different cultures. And I was telling the little man, Bo, about it, and he was like, man, just go over to Dundee and rip it up. One of my favorite places I've ever played, and I had nothing but great things to say about it. So it was such an easy kind of switch. And he was always talking to Posh, like they're best friends. And I think that helped me too, because me and Bo, I would say, play a lot alike. And if I knew that Posh liked Bo that well, that I would get some love from him. And I think, that built up Posh and my relationship too, which, I still talk to Posh pretty much every single day. So it's, I just think, both those guys have really, Bo helped me get to Dundee, and then Posh helped me have the year that I did.
Yeah.
And then for the Eldoro Loco situation, we didn't even know that we signed for the longest times. I think the first time we talked and kind of like said, hey man, we're actually playing together was kind of when we were trying to get our visas together, and we both were just like, what do we have to do for this? And we were just asking, bouncing questions off each other. But no, I mean, the relationship that I would say me and Dora were definitely friendly in Wichita, but we weren't, best friends or anything. But, being his roommate and kind of getting to know him more and more, I mean, I love the kid. I love his family. And it's just no bad things you can say about him. He's a stud on the ice, and, he's the nicest guy off the ice too.
Yeah, I think we found that is with, obviously his mum's came over quite a few times, and his mum's just gelled in with the fan base straight away.
Oh yeah, she's an easy person to get along with.
Yeah, she put me in my place on Twitter the other night, thankfully, when she told me he wasn't signing for Fife. There was a lot of talk about Fife signing Doro the other day. A lot of talk.
So what as Junior says,
I wouldn't let that one happen.
Yeah, since the last game of last season, I'd been tweeting Doro constantly. When are you coming back to Dundee? When are you coming back? And everybody started building this thing up. Come on, the loving has to finish, right? He's gone. You have to finish. So Jeff Hutchins, the Fife assistant coach.
Yep.
So he announced, I think it's around about Monday or Tuesday this week, saying that Fife will be close to announcing a signing, which will be to Larzo 14's dismay. And everybody jumped on it and went, Doro's going to Fife.
Doro's going.
And that was it. So everybody started tweeting about it. Then what happens? Mamadorovic came on and put everybody in their place and just the tweet was, he is not going to Fife for fuck's sake.
You're like, okay, that's all we needed. That's all we needed.
That's all we need to know.
Slice it in half. That is not happening. But no, that's so it was Dill that went, right?
Yeah, it was Dylan that went.
It was Dill.
They announced Dylan. Yeah.
There's a lot of Stars fans are a bit kind of in between on that one. He had a few injury problems last year and couldn't really.
He was battling with shoulder problems, and I mean, that's obviously not fun. He was probably one of the ones that was most banged up the whole year, and each game being a playoff game too, he battled so hard for us, which was awesome.
Yeah, I absolutely loved Dillo. Even when he was at Coventry and Edinburgh before that, he's got one of the quickest releases on a wrist shot I've ever seen in my life.
That 5-hole goal and shootout against
Sheffield.
Yep.
I didn't even know he shot it. I don't even know.
No, I know.
We were exactly the same when we watched it. You were like, why is he skating? Oh, he scored. That was that quick. That was outrageous. And then, obviously, the empty netter.
Oh, no.
Against Sheffield. That was it.
I wasn't even watching. I couldn't even watch. I didn't know what was going on. That was that game could have been the biggest battle I've ever had to encounter.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
But what was your initial thoughts when you came into the league? Coming to the Stars, we had that kind of pre-season with Fife, and then we had our about 50 games back and forward with us in Belfast before we eventually started playing other teams. What was your thoughts coming into the league? Compared to what you've been at before.
Well, I mean, the first game against Fife at home was unbelievable. Just like the amount of fans that showed up just for a preseason game. It was, it just shows how much hockey is actually, how much you guys actually love hockey over in Scotland. And kind of then I kind of realized like, wow, this is, this is kind of it. This is like the start of your pro career officially. And, I didn't have, I was just kind of worried about myself, just worried about playing my own game. I never really thought about the league too much. I think that's one thing that I never try to get into my head. I don't want to overthink things. I just want to play my style of hockey and kind of do that. But I mean, playing Belfast that first time, all I remember hearing was, oh, they're so good. They're so good. They're so good. And, they kind of came in and we had a good battle with them. So it was kind of one of those things where it was, it was kind of reassuring that, we do have a good team. But then we got hit by the injury bug and, we kind of had that bad first stretch. But I was really confused about the whole league setup with like the cup games and then the regular season games. I'm like, so this one doesn't go towards the regular season. And it was, I kind of started to realize once which jerseys were hung up. Like if the red jerseys were hung up, the blue ones were hung up. All right, we're not. So
Yeah.
that helped. But no, it was it was an awesome experience, and I loved it. I loved every second of last year.
Yeah,
You sort of touched on we sort of had, let's say, just say an indifferent start, and then around about Christmas we began to hit top form, and we were beating everybody, home and away.
Yeah.
And then COVID came in. And for us, that, my opinion, was that absolutely snookered us, because I think we struggled to come back again.
Exactly. That shattered us pretty hard. Obviously, like you said, we couldn't find a way to lose. We were hitting top stride, and that's something we needed, especially with the start that we had. We needed a stretch like that, and it was kind of one of those things where you went into a game and you're like, I don't care who we're playing tonight. They're just going to stand a chance. And then even going into that Cardiff game for the second leg of the Cup, just the presence on that bus was, wow, I'm jacked up for this game. Like, I don't think anybody had like an ounce or like a little doubt in their mind that we were coming out with that game and moving on to the next round. So it was, that was hard. That one was hard on us. And then even coming back, like after the little bit of downtime for COVID, and was our first game Fife, and then we went to Belfast. Is that how it went?
It was something like that.
Something like that.
Something like that. And then, it was kind of like we struggled those two games really bad, and then kind of just going right back into it. And it's like, obviously, like we jumped right back into it. We didn't have much training the first time, and then go into Belfast, and then Belfast kind of handed it to us, and then coming back, and you just hear, oh no, we're back into COVID protocol.
Yeah.
And, that was hard, but then it was just, it was just weird being away from the guys. I think that was the hardest part about it. It wasn't, you couldn't get that same connections, and obviously you have to make it work out, but it was hard. But I think towards the end, or right after, we had another little bad rut, and then we found our stride again. So
you mentioned obviously coming in pre-season, so many fans being there. How was it playing in front of 200?
It was a bit different because usually, the DIA was just bumping, like it was incredible, but it just kind of was more on us just to create our own energy on the bench and kind of get up and everything. So, I think it kind of hurt us because people don't like, teams don't like coming to our place and playing because of our fans and because of the long travel. So, when we're building off you guys, it makes a big difference. And I think the other teams are really starting to realize that too.
Yeah. They don't like coming to us mainly because we sit right behind that away bench and give them nothing but abuse the whole game.
No, it's hilarious. And I'm trying to do as much as I can for you guys too, trying to chirp and everything too.
Well, I'm glad you've brought that up because I was going to bring it up later on, but I'm going to bring it up now. What was the beef with Matt Register?
So in Wichita, I would say probably our biggest rival that year was Allen, and Register played for them, and it just kind of that hatred kind of came over, and we just don't really like each other, and I think it's hard to get into it, but it's just one of those rivalries where I think it's on the ice and we haven't met off the ice. But if we met each other off the ice, we'd be
you'd be a pretty nice guy.
Buddies, but it's hard to talk about.
We saw in the warm-up. It was I think it was the first leg of the Challenge Cup quarterfinals, and we saw the chirping in the warm-up, and then we saw the shouting down the corridor bit coming off the bench, and I was like, "Oh yeah, what's going on there?" And then obviously we had the whole throwing the bottle at McNally kicking off with the crowd, and then
he grabs me.
I just saw Register grabbing you, and I was like, "Fuck, he's gonna go! He's gonna go!" And I'm like, "Where's Kyle? Where's Kyle?"
It's funny. Did you guys ever see what happened in Cardiff that one time too? So it was in warm-ups, and I guess he likes to shoot pucks in the other team's net or something like that. So I obviously, I that's one of my pet peeves. I don't let people do that. I don't want anyone scoring on our net. So I was sitting there and I was blocking his shots. And he actually wound up and took a slap shot. And that guy has a hard shot. Like he can pound a puck. And it came head height at me. And I can say that was one of the scarier things. Like going into the game, I was scared just because of that shot. But I remember I flipped the net over and then got a drink of water. And then he started shooting more pucks at me. But the whole time, it's just like I'm the smallest guy on the ice, but I'm tripping one of the bigger guys. And I don't know. It's just a guy that I just can't stand.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
There was somebody who used to do that at Dundee. I can't remember who it was. One of the away players.
Who was it? It was Kevin Noble at Coventry.
Kevin Noble at Coventry. When they come up to Dundee and Coventry would all leave the ice and Noble would turn the net around and push it against the plexi.
Yeah.
So nobody could score on the goal.
Yeah, no, that's something that I'll always do. I can't stand it. Like I don't know. It's one of my pet peeves, I guess. But
he's also last guy off the ice.
Yeah,
we noticed that.
It really wasn't. It was more for that. Like it was honestly, I'm not like too picky about being the last guy. Like I remember in Belfast, one of the games. I think it might have been Garside. I forget who it was. But he wanted to play rock, paper, scissors with me. I'm like, dude, I'll just get off the ice first.
I'll just go. Yeah.
All the fans went wild. I'm just like, okay, let them have their moment. Like I took them out his ice. Like whatever.
I remember there was one time at home last season. I think it was. I want to say it was Manchester, where there was a bit of a standoff between yourself and someone, and they went off, and they kind of brought their skate back on. And you decide to come back out and then go back off again.
Yeah, I do. I
absolutely love it.
Those guys mad. Yeah, I mean, it's not me. It's to kind of make the other team mad just a little bit. But it's
no, it's good. Again, making teams mad. The dive. How
in Glasgow?
How did it happen? What was the whole? Was it planned?
It was not planned at all. It was. I just remember that. I think we were on our way to somewhere, and I remember everyone's on the bus, and we get that April Fool's video that they put out of us diving, and we played them the next day, and I was just like, oh, there's something has to happen, and I just think it was that was like a 40-second shift, and I was absolutely gassed. So thank God Sebi just went Sebi mode and turned 50 times. And I know the guy that was out there that he was guarding him was just as tired as me, but I just had to sit there, which was awesome. And I read off Sebi, and the first thing I thought of was, let's rub it in their face. And it was not planned at all. It was I didn't even I kind of blacked out. Honestly, I don't remember getting up or kind of skating. I just remember being in the crowd and everyone was just like, no way you just did that. Like, are you kidding me?
It was the best celebration.
It's the best celebration I've seen in the history. We've been there for day one, Charlie. This is our 21st season at going to watch the Stars, and that has been the best celebration ever.
Yeah, well, I'm happy we didn't have to play them after, so that was another big reason.
It's certainly up there with we had a guy who used to play for us called John Churchill. And he scored the winner against Fife, and he skated past with his stick, shooting all the Fife fans. That sends everyone crazy on both sides of this ice. But it was honestly tremendous. The dive, absolutely loved it.
No, that's all my friends back home saw the video too, and they loved it too. So it's kind of, you got to put on a show at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
But putting on shows, obviously, last game of the season, we're fighting for playoffs. We're fighting for still standings. We could have still finished 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. It was all over the place. But hat-trick, ruled out goals, last minute goals, just to seal that. Well, what was going through the guys' minds?
To start off, I think it was at home on that Jersey night, and we lost to Fife. Mm-hmm. I think that kind of fired us up and was just like, guys, we can't be doing this. We need to take those home points for sure. and it was also our second to last home game because we played Fife. And then we knew we had a hard stretch, like a hard travel stretch before. Our last weekend, we went Fife all the way down to Cardiff. And we won that Fife game, which was huge. And then we're like, guys, we can get 5th place if we kind of sneak out one of these games. And like the things, like the right games, outcomes happen for us. And we get to Cardiff, obviously have a tough game in Cardiff after a long road trip. And then we stay a little bit outside of Cardiff and then have another like little travel day to Coventry. And you can kind of tell on the bus, like, well, we don't want to play Belfast. I think that was our biggest thing is we don't want to play Belfast. And honestly, one of the team I really didn't want to play either was Cardiff just because of like their travel. And I mean, 11 hours it's a tough one. But so I remember Posh was kind of giving us like a little bit of like what we need to do and kind of where we won. Obviously we wanted to win just because we had that chance of getting 5th again. So that would have been massive. But I remember we went down early and I think everyone kind of shut down a little bit, but like we were so gassed after that long travel and everything. And that first one goes in and we're like, okay, wow, we could get this done. Kind of kept that lead in half. And then the next, they were up by 2. Did we tie it 2-2?
I can't remember.
Was it not? Did they not go about 3-1 up?
Did they go 3-1 and then we came back?
I think it was 3-1 and then we came back to 3-1.
So I remember
something like that.
Well, they scored after the disallowed goal to go up 2, is what I'm remembering. So I don't know. I remember it was just I remember we knew the outcomes of some games, and if we just got a point, we would play Sheffield. And kind of hate to chirp Mo, but I mean that's a tough goal to let in, kind of like after a disallowed goal where we just took the lead or whatever the situation was. And then we looked down that bench, but we love Mo and we were bailing him out for sure on that. And we looked down that bench and we just knew we had to give it everything we got if we wanted to kind of give ourselves a chance to get 7th place. And that pass that Doro gave me is that was insane. That goal, I mean, that was all him. I remember him rolling out of the corner and me just sitting there. And I'm like, there's no way this puck gets to me. I remember I had to take a second to look down at my stick and be like, oh my gosh, what a pass. And then I just got to fire it in. But I mean, just that whole game was kind of the start of something special for us. And it was fun. Was probably, I told Doro that was probably the most memorable pass I'll ever get in my career.
Yeah. So just looking at it just now, we were 2-0 down, brought it back to 2-2. And then obviously they scored a goal 3-2 up, and I think we'd went 3-2 up.
We went 3-2 up.
I got a goal disallowed
for an absolute.
That was a questionable one, but
whatever. I think a lot of them have been questionable over last season. But and it was funny because I'm going absolute apeshit in the house that we'd scored. We got the hat trick. It was disallowed. We then get the hat trick, and I'm going absolute mental in the house, and then. It was back up for the argument of the fighting between you and Sebi for top goal scorer this season when Seb came in with the overtime winner. I was like, we're just going to keep going between these two fighting for who's getting the most goals. It was good to watch because it's been a while since we've actually had guys at that end of the scoring and the points production within the team. And
I think it kind of attests to like both Sebi and I. We didn't even think about that at all. We just wanted it to be, we just wanted to do something for Dundee and kind of like, keep winning games. It had nothing to do with stats. I can say that I didn't hear one of us talk about in the locker room, and I think that's just something special that we had in the room is no one really cared about the points. Obviously, points matter a little bit for yourself in an individual state, but it wasn't our main objective because we know if winning and getting to that Final Four weekend, it would do a lot for us as an organization and everyone.
Yeah. Well, as you say, obviously we got to that Final Four, but we had one hell of a roller coaster game in the second leg. Against Sheffield. So obviously going down there, winning 1-0, the tightest of games you can get. To be honest, and I'll be honest, we knew, fans knew going into the game, on our day we can beat absolutely anybody in the league. We did it throughout the season. Coming into playoffs, Sheffield losing the league the way in which they did, not having anything in the last couple of years, you're thinking, shit, they're going to come out hard against us. And first leg down there is always tough. They usually take the first leg away and then they take their second leg at home, so they've got more of a home ice advantage. I bet they wish they did that. They did that now, but 1-0 coming home. What were you guys thinking coming back up for that second leg, being a goal up, and then everything that kind of transpired?
Yeah, it was more just we could do something really special, and we just got to stick to our game. And it was such an emotional night, that first night, that like getting that one goal and coming back home. It was it just kind of, it just gave us that thought, like, there's no reason that we should lose this kind of series. And it was one of the more wild games. Both those games are one of the more wild games I've ever been a part of. Just that one goal that we scored was, it was a bit surprising, just because we got all these chances, and then, just kind of a broken play. Timmy makes a great play out of the corner, and Sebi's just backdoor. And, it was awesome too, just because we got to celebrate in front of the fans. And that traveling fan base that we had was all time. It was all time. I mean, you could hear you guys in warm-ups and kind of going through the anthem and everything, and just hearing you guys. And honestly, the whole team talked about this. You guys were definitely louder than that Sheffield crowd, and that's unbelievable. To go into like that big of a building and bring in that much energy for us, that helped us out so much. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. Coming home, the second leg, going 3-0 down. I'll hold my hand up. I thought it was gone. I thought the game was done. And then we needed that goal just before the end of the second period. Big Calvis for that monster slap shot. It's probably one of the best slap shots I've seen in Dundee.
He probably has one of the hardest one-timers I've ever seen, and I'm so happy that I wasn't net front when he was shooting pucks.
Yeah.
If that thing hit me, I don't know what would happen. But that was a massive goal, and that kind of was one of those things where we went back into the room, and I think the first thing Posh says, just get another one, and we have hope.
Yeah. You're tied.
Yeah.
You get that one more, it's a tie game.
Exactly.
And it's one of the most, a lot of hockey players that come over to the UK always think that it's such a strange format of how to play a playoff game, an aggregate score.
Yeah.
But it gives you that chance. You're 3-0 down, but you score that one goal. You're 1 goal and you're back in it.
Exactly. And those last 2 goals were unbelievable. If you looked up and down that lineup, our bench, the amount of people that were cramping was unbelievable. I remember we started off with a power play in the third period. I want to say we did.
Yeah.
I remember I could only take like a 20-second shift because I couldn't let go of my top hand of my stick. And I remember just getting off. I'm like, dang, that was insane. And then just Airly literally was running down the bench, up and down the bench the whole third period. I don't even think she got to watch, just because of how much energy that we've exerted those past few games and how much we wanted to win. I think it shows through that.
Yeah.
It was just the noise. I tweeted the Stars and Stars TV saying that, take the commentary off, let us, put the video up and let us hear how loud it was, because being there, the noise was unreal. When you watch it back, it's even louder. And it's the loudest it's been for God knows how many years in Dundee. That's the loudest it's been.
I mean, I still get chills. I'll still watch that game over and over again. I get chills. I remember it will always be special to me, that game. And honestly, the whole season, but that game in particular, when Jill scored that was incredible.
Yeah. And I think somebody, I can't remember, I think it might have been Mikey Kidd, one of the fans, or Sinky, had actually put it up with the Titanic theme tune.
Yeah.
And that made it even better. You've got the Titanic theme tune, no commentary, just the sort of the empty net goal with the Titanic theme tune. And for me, I've never seen an atmosphere like that. As I
No.
say, 20 years we've been
Yeah.
following Dundee, and I've never seen an atmosphere like that. That was outrageous.
No, and especially the energy and like kind of how loud you guys are as a fan base. I don't think I've ever played in front of that. And I played against like so many big. I played at North Dakota with 12,000 fans on their home opener, and I thought that was cool. But being in the DIA, that game was substantially louder and more energy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So loudness going down to playoff weekend. The fans were in good voice, but obviously just came up a bit short. What was the game like? For you, obviously we're sitting watching it. Guys there watching it on TV and stuff. What was it like for the team?
It was obviously tough. It was just kind of one of those games where you just weren't getting your bounces early, and they got that one, and it kind of opened. It kind of, I don't know, scared us a bit. Maybe like, wow, like this is actually going down, and we're kind of behind, and then maybe we had a couple chances, but honestly, it just wasn't our best game. It wasn't, and it really shows the scoreboard. And it's hard to say that we really played that bad, but that team was really that good too. Like that's a great hockey team that we played against, and they showed it. And I don't think they made any mistakes against us. And it was definitely a really tough one to swallow. And being in the locker room, kind of just after the game, it was definitely eye opening, and it was a sad locker room for sure.
Yeah, when you're up against guys like Besco in goal, who he plays in his head every single game.
Well, he's
There's never an off night
too.
for him.
He takes up the whole net. I don't think I even saw any netting against him the whole time. And no, he is he's an all-time goalie, and he deserves everything that he's earned in his career for sure.
Yeah. So moving on,
all comes up, and it's Denmark.
Yeah.
Denmark.
How did that come about?
Yeah,
it was just something that I really want to travel and kind of see every league, and I'm kind of want to move my way up. And just talking with my brother and everyone, they were just saying they kind of gave me a couple leagues that they were interested in for me, and my agent kind of stumbled upon. I can't really say the name of Sardonsky. I'm pretty sure. It's just one of those, and it was one where I knew Desi was signed there, and me and Desi had a great relationship, and we were good buddies. So I was in talks with him a lot about it, and I just think it was something that I couldn't turn down, and I think it was best for my career, and but it was definitely a hard decision to leave the IHL, but hopefully it works out, and make my way back there some point down the road.
I assume you'll be taking your warm-up superstition with you to Denmark of bumping into all the guys, and then the little spin-off Sonche, and then the sprint to the blue line.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tell the guys about that one, but maybe we'll miss the bump on Sonch, but definitely be running into the boys. But yeah.
Is that always been a thing for you, or did that just happen this year?
I think it might have just happened. Honestly, I don't really. I think kind of the summertime, I always forget what I do during warmups and like my little mini superstitions. Like I kind of remember everything, but I think that one just kind of went about. I always usually skate to the blue line like that, but never did I ever have that spin off, or I don't think I really hit people in the boards, but.
It then started a superstition with me, because whenever I didn't watch it happen, we lost. So then I had to make sure I was ready
every time
to see it. Yeah,
that's funny.
I've just saw a tweet come up. So the Stars have actually just announced Devin Daniels as our next signing. So I think it's another NCAA kid.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
I'm not sure.
There's nothing there at the moment. Let me quickly.
Here, I can give it a quick
out.
Here.
Yeah, he's going on Elite Prospects now, isn't he?
Yep. Yeah, Charlie, we are so unprofessional on this. It's unbelievable.
It's breaking
news. We just
proud to break it with you guys. Here we go. I got the video.
Yeah, it's one of these things. We just stop.
Mercyhurst.
Mercyhurst.
He's coming from Mercyhurst.
We have another Mercyhurst guy that signed, right? I think there was another one.
I think so, yeah.
So that will be
rings a bell.
Here.
Yeah, it rings a bell.
But no, that's awesome.
So yeah, another signing, another import down. We're still hopeful for Doro. we're still hoping for that.
I'll start getting to his ear a little bit more.
Yeah, you've got to. That and obviously the big rumour's always been that Jackson Whistle's meant to be the netminder coming in from Belfast. Yeah, so that's been the rumour all summer.
All summer that came out.
Season.
There was actually the rumour as well that Jeff Mason may actually have brought Besco with him as his player assistant coach. Yeah.
That would, if you brought that goalie, that'd be special.
Yeah, that would be special if that happened. I think Besco's retired, so I think, as Junior says, the rumour is that it could well be Jackson Whistle. We're still hopeful for Doro. We don't think it'll happen. There is still people holding the candle out for Big Kyle. We don't think Kyle will happen, but he was a special guy to have looking after you.
I can't thank that guy enough. Every time that every time he fought was, it was a show, and he mostly fought for someone like someone like me. So it makes it so much easier for me to play my game too. I don't think people realize that knowing him, being behind me was just kind of let me do anything I wanted to do out there. If I could run my mouth, but he always had my back, and it really does. What a special guy that guy was, and it shows with how good he was with you guys and the fans, and always tweeting and stuff. It might have gotten a little crazy at some points, but we all.
Yeah, I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I hope you, from an impartial view, was it a bad hit on Boucher, or was it clean?
It's hard to say it was a bad hit. I just think it was
it's a hard hit.
Maybe it was a hard hit, but it was technically a bad hit just because if you look at him get out of the box, he probably took like 20 strides to get to Boucher there. I
can still imagine it in my head. I can still picture it.
Oh yeah, I can picture it too. I was right there. I'm like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And I don't know. It could go either way, but I just think it's just one of those things where it's Kyle. He had that reputation of kind of being that player.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, it could go either way.
Yeah. Very, very rarely have Dundee been able to say that we had the toughest guy in the league. Ever.
I go back and watch. I saw something on YouTube where it was like all of our fights, and I go back and watch his fights all the time.
Yeah.
You weren't too bad with your own hands though when we dropped them down in Manchester.
Oh yeah,
the one against Fawcett. Well, the funny thing is about that is I know a lot of people that know him, and apparently he owns a boxing gym, or his dad owns a boxing gym back home. So he's actually a boxer. So I'm just happy that he fell right away. I'm just happy the fight got down and he didn't actually get to punch me because that was special. But I'll never let it down to Mikey because he did jump Mikey down there after Mikey hit someone on the team. Yeah. And Mikey couldn't even get his gloves off. So I remember I talked a lot of smack to Mikey about that, and I don't think I'll ever let that one down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
did you not also fight in Cardiff?
I fought Cox down
there. Yeah.
I really wanted Crandall, but I was running my mouth that whole game. I just wanted to fight one of their kind of skilled guys. It was one of those things where you're on a bus for 11 hours and they were chirpy, and I never really got along with those guys. And I think Matt Register had a lot to say about that. I got it pretty chippy, and I remember I just hit Cox, and it was actually, I have a lot of respect for him because it was he didn't need to do that, and I bet you he didn't want to because that's the player he is. But he just looked at me. He's like, "Hey, let's do this." And after we dabbed each other up and said, "Thanks for that." And
that's not bad. You had 2 fights last season, and you only had 44 penalty minutes in the league. So
Yeah.
it's some going that.
Usually, I mean, I think one year in juniors, I had one fight and like 88 penalty minutes. I just didn't get along with any of the refs. So I kind of dumbed it down a bit to the refs and kind of tried to make friends, especially with Toby. That was one guy that, towards the beginning of the year, I was getting a lot of calls on me, and I just had to make sure that, I was friends with Toby and not, an enemy. So he will go behind your back, and he will, he holds his grudges for sure.
Oh yeah, we
that.
know that.
Yeah, we know that. We know that.
Yeah. But yeah, final message, Charlie, for the Stars fans.
Well, I remember telling this to Early that I would love to just give a final message, just because I'm so bad at social media and posting, and I definitely did think about this, but I just want to thank all the fans for such a special year for me, especially being my first year pro, and just kind of just being there and making it such a warm and happy year, even through the COVID times. And, I know everyone in the locker room, is kind of saying the same thing, but, Dundee's in such a great hands with Jeff, and I can't wait to, watch their success they have. And, I just can't say thank you enough. And all the kind words that I've read on Twitter about me leaving and just how happy everyone was for me. I just, I can't say thank you enough.
Yeah. We were also just very happy it wasn't Sheffield or Nottingham. if there's, I kept saying it to Early, I was like, Early, if you're speaking to Charlie, tell him you can go Belfast, you can go Cardiff, just don't go to Sheffield or Nottingham.
Sheffield,
I don't think I could. I don't think I could live with myself leaving Dundee and going to a bigger club right away. So
it's the only, it's other than Glasgow. They are the only two clubs that we feel are the most entitled clubs in the league.
Yeah.
Belfast and Cardiff have worked to get to where they are, but Sheffield and Nottingham fans and management think it should just come naturally to them that they win everything.
Yeah, I hope you guys don't think I'll ever play for Glasgow, by the way. I don't think I could definitely do that one.
Or Fife
for the number 1, 2 that are
that's good to hear. And we'll hold you to it if you ever do.
I just hope I'm not one of those guys that you guys are chirping during warm-ups.
We will. We certainly will.
I'll sit, if I ever do come back, I will sit right there, and if I'm not with Dundee, obviously, but I will sit right next to the bench and just let you guys give it to me. I will definitely try to give it back.
But no, Charlie, you thank us. We need to thank you. It was, I said it to you when I was messaging you. One hell of a player. It's one of the best players we've had in God knows how many years at the Stars, just for natural talent and for the laughs you gave us on the Stars TV and the heart. We always say it. We don't care if we lose games, as long as the team put the effort in and they play for the logo on the front rather than the name on the back. Then you'll go down as a Stars legend, and certainly I think you're already a Stars legend after 1 year. So every fan would take you back in a heartbeat.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for that. It really means a lot, and that's something that I'll always remember too. Is kind of just the friendships we've made, and but yeah, no, it was awesome.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. We'd like to thank you for coming on.
Of course.
Obviously, trying to organise these around Central Time, and we've been speaking to Doro about Mountain Time. I didn't even know Mountain Time was a thing.
Neither.
Central, Pacific, and Eastern, but that's a thing, Mountain Time. So
Mountain Time. Doro's on Mountain Time. He's maybe just a mountain man. Maybe stays in the mountain.
It's probably just El Doro Loco time. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. But again, thank you very much for coming on. It's much appreciated.
Of course.
The fans are going to absolutely love hearing from you, and we wish you nothing but the best in Denmark next season.
We'll certainly be looking out for it. See how we go on.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. And to the viewers, we will be back in a couple of weeks' time.
I think we may have Kyle next. I think we may. Oh, have I gave it away?
Yeah, you gave it away, Larzo. Unprofessionalism to the heavens. Kyle is meant to be next. Mr. Haas, and we're going to try and get some information out of him about what's happening. But,
so if you get Doro on, make sure to ask him about the cappuccino donuts from Clark's Bakery.
Yeah, Clark is best thing in Dundee.
No,
I'm making a note of that now.
We lived way too close to it. Cappuccino donuts, we lived way too close.
Perfect. And so, from me, goodbye, and we will speak to you all soon.
Yeah, we'll definitely be in touch. All right.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Bye.